According to the Malaysian government, some 160,000 residents in the country are currently homeless due to the flooding caused by heavy seasonal rainfall since mid-December. To help, 400 volunteers from the Tiji Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter immediately mobilized to hand out relief items and consolation cash to those affected. Before sunrise, a plane lands at the Sultan Ismail Petra Airport in Kota Baru, Kelantan. Getting off the aircraft are 72 Tiji volunteers who are traveling to the flood-stricken areas in Kelantan with relief items. As many areas are still inundated by floodwaters, the volunteers drive with extra caution. Knowing that many residents are in need of help, despite the long hours of travel, the volunteers are doing their best to carry out their mission. As soon as the volunteers arrive at the temporary shelter, they quickly split into teams to tend to different tasks, such as unloading relief supplies, making a list of flood victims, and much more. To ease anxious hearts, Tiji volunteers not only offer words of encouragement but also warm hugs.
When I fly home, I didn't bring my wallet with me. Right now, I only have this with me, which is my ID card and other important documents. Timely assistance, those staying at the temporary shelter can finally put their hearts at ease because they know that they are not alone. Besides visiting flood victims in Kelantan, Tiji volunteers also travel to Lintan and Laksa, two of the worst-hit villages in Sangkai Sitput. After going through the recipient list with the local police, Tiji volunteers next handed out consolation cash to locals. Another area affected by the flooding is Kuala Lumpur in Pahang.
The weather is changing constantly. I just heard that Timalo is once again flooded. The floodwaters in Kuala Lumpur are slowly receding. I think this trip will be very challenging for our volunteers.
While conducting their relief mission, the volunteers have came across many restless hearts.
Terima kasih banyak-banyaklah sebab tolong kita orang kan walaupun tak sebanyak pun tak tahu lah syukurlah. Terima kasih banyak-banyaklah.
Datang tengok kami dengan keadaan kami macam ni.
This is a test, so we need to be strong. We need to overcome all challenges and remain tough throughout this difficult time.
Saya rasa macam
I feel the Tiji Foundation has the power to help me regain my sense of courage.
boleh membuat diri saya jadi bersemangat.
With Tiji volunteers by their side, flood survivors in Malaysia have regained their courage to work to overcome the challenges brought by this disaster. Upon learning of the severity of the flood along the east coast of Malaysia, 40 Tiji volunteers in Singapore quickly mobilized to offer their assistance. However, no charter bus companies were willing to rent a bus to the volunteers due to severity of the disaster. Thankfully, through the assistance of an entrepreneur, the volunteers finally found a bus that would take them to the disaster-stricken areas in Kuantan, Pahang.
We need to talk to the director right now because we can't find any buses in Singapore. We have to call to see if the volunteers will need to make a bus transfer at Johor Bahru.
Pahang in Malaysia was severely devastated by the recent flooding. Therefore, no charter bus companies in Singapore were willing to run their buses to the volunteers. Furthermore, as the highway connecting Singapore and Kuantan Pahang is currently closed, the volunteers will have to travel longer distances to get to the hard-hit areas.
When all the charter bus companies heard that we needed to rent a bus to drive to the east coast of Malaysia, all of them rejected us. They were worried that their buses wouldn't be able to make it back to Singapore. Thankfully, Brother Xi Zhou's friend rented a bus for us.
We have to get into the disaster area to understand the current situation there and figure out how we'll conduct our relief missions.
Upon learning of the severity of the flood in Malaysia, in just 12 hours, 40 Tzu Chi volunteers in Singapore volunteer to assist with the distribution in Kuantan Pahang.
I want to seize the chance to contribute my share, so I sent a text message to my boss in Norway saying that I need to take a day off.
I took a day off from work because I really want to help those in greater need.
Besides traveling to Malaysia to assist with the relief distributions, Tzu Chi volunteers in Singapore also plan to canvass donations to provide further help for the flood survivors.